Good evening. My name is Allison Wren. I'm the choir director. I'm one of the choir directors here of the second service. We're so glad you could all join us, and we're so glad you all can be here for the CJ Cafe. They've been doing these musicals for 30 years, and they have been here apparently 4 times in the last 16 years. I'm new to the church. I'm only been the choir director since January, so I don't know the whole history. Love doing impromptu stuff. Woot. Okay, so here, I apologize if I'm not introducing everything I'm supposed to introduce you. We hope you enjoy the show. Afterwards, there's going to be cookies and punch and things over in the fellowship hall, so we hope you can all join us for that. And I'm going to let Dirk take over any other special announcements and introductions to the show.
Thank you, Allison. Yes, I'm Dirk Damani, and I'm the Minister of Music and Worship Arts at the Los Altos United Methodist Church. Allison, I've been there 37 years, so you have a ways to go. But if you play your cards right, you got a good gig for a long time. And we're delighted to be back here with all of you at Aldersgate here in Bellevue. We have come here many times, several times, and it's always just been one of the highlights of our tour. This group has been on tour. Today is day 7 of our tour, and we have another week to go, and we're just delighted to be here. We want to thank you for a wonderful dinner, all of you who helped with that. Yeah. Pizza is always a huge hit with these guys, so thanks for that. And we want to just thank you for your great hospitality. We had a great time in worship here this morning, and we're very moved by your spirit and the wonderful VBS it looks like you had, and just the way this church is living out its mission. Just a couple quick announcements. We'd like to ask that you turn off cell phones for the duration of the show. It's about an hour long, so it's not super long. And actually, if you could turn them off and not just silence them, because they can sort of interfere with all the things floating around in the cosmos. And also, at the end of the show tonight, we're going to be receiving an offering, and you'll hear a little bit more about that, but it goes to support the youth ministry here, and we sure love supporting youth ministries. So you'll hear more about that, but we want to encourage you to give generously. I do want to tell you just a little bit about CJ Cafe. This show that Carol is my wife and the director of this group, and this is a brand new show that we wrote for this tour and for this group this year. And it's a sequel to a show that we actually did 20 years ago for the first time. And then we repeated it the next year. And then 7 years later, in 2007, we kind of resurrected it because it was a show that really resonated with a lot of people and that really felt special to us. And so that original show told the story of a guy named Ben who started a cafe. And he turns it over to 2 baristas named Claire and Jordan. And they took it from there, and you'll see at the beginning of this show, you'll see a video of the 2 young women who played Claire and Jordan 12 years ago. And they're going to be telling, though, their actual stories of the things they've done since leaving our group and going out into the world. And I think you'll find some pretty remarkable stories there. So that original show was a story of what we really believe the church is called to be, a place of welcome, a place of community, a place where we share our stories, a place where the loners and the popular people and the people who are just confused all find a place. And the question Carol and I asked this year as we were creating this show is that still what we're living out? Are we still living out this mission in this? You guys all know as United Methodists, we're in kind of a crazy time as a denomination and trying to figure out if we really are going to be truly welcoming and truly inclusive, or just sorting out those struggles. And so Carol and I wondered, are we still living that mission? Are we still called to be a church of welcome and inclusion and a place where everyone's stories can be told? And so this show picks up 12 years later, and you'll see the last scene from the show 12 years ago, and that will move into this year's show. So I hope you enjoy it. We're so glad you're here, and we're so grateful for your hospitality and your welcome, and we are just pleased to present CJ Cafe, Building on Our Dreams.
Jordan, how are you? It's been a while.
It has. A memory from Facebook popped up. It was from 12 years ago, the day that Ben left us in charge of the CJ Cafe.
I got that one too. I can't believe it's been 12 years.
I know, time really flies. Remember how scared and confused we were? We thought Ben was crazy turning it over to us. I didn't think there was any way we could do it.
I know, but as always, he saw something we just hadn't seen yet, and it ended up being one of the best things I've ever done.
Me too. And I'm so glad we got to do that together.
It was so amazing, and now it sounds like Eva and Jamie are keeping it going and doing a really great job together.
It sure does. They're really honoring the tradition that started with Ben and also moving forward in new directions and new ways to change the world. Speaking of changing the world, it sounds like you're doing really awesome things. Didn't I read that you were selected as one of Forbes 30 under 30 in Europe?
Yeah, my co-founder and I made the list this year for our work with the Center for Feminist Foreign Policy. Basically with the idea that foreign policy needs little help right now, and we think feminist foreign policy is the best way to do that. So we're working to kind of tackle these really institutional problems of racism, sexism, really strong colonial legacies, capitalist leanings, to make foreign policy that really works for people. Feminist foreign policy basically boils down to the idea that people who are affected by policy decisions should be sitting at the table making those decisions. The idea of nothing about them without them. It was really incredible to get that kind of recognition.
That sounds amazing.
Thank you. Tell me about you. Tell me about your farm to table stuff.
Yeah, so we're up here in northern Vermont, and we're working to build a farm-to-table kind of concept with a chef's table, private events, doing wedding and catering, as well as cooking classes. And our big thing is that we're trying to create a community full of transparency with our food system. So, knowing where everything comes from your sugar to your meat, to your vegetables, to your oil, as well as creating a place full of radical hospitality and sustainability while partnering with our local community and farmers and supporting the local community through outreach as well. In some ways, it seems like so far away from when we left the CJ Cafe.
I know, and in some ways, it's like we never left.
Yeah, true. Still changing the world.
Still carrying the message from here.
How can we go on? Who will sing our song? We've barely begun to learn. How soon will you return?
How can you leave us? See how you grieve us. Won't you believe us? We need you. We need you. Don't you see you've always had it with you? Don't you see you've had it all along? Don't you see it everywhere around you? Don't you hear it sung in every song? When you hear the truth, the voice inside you, it shouts aloud that you have got it right. When you share the truth of life within you, it shines from you, a brilliant guiding light. You've got to carry it far, carry it near, make it loud for all to hear. You can carry on from here. Carry it far, carry it near, make it loud for all to hear. You must carry the message on from here.
Well, it started with a dream and some people who believed it. Together they created a cafe where different people came and they shared their own ideas and they listened to what others might say. With one eye on the prize and another on the task and a couple of feet planted on the earth, they
Okay, pull up a chair, everybody. Welcome to World Changers. Our mission is to provide for the basic needs of the community and beyond. Clothing, housing, shelter, you know, that kind of stuff.
I love this place. Haven't been here in a couple of years.
I know, it's so good to know that it's still here.
Well, will be a great meeting spot for us. Now let's get to work.
First, let's prioritize the most pressing needs and talk about how we can address them.
I hope you guys like this place. Members of our group have been coming here for years.
It seems perfect. It's centrally located, and we can mobilize from here to stage protests and demonstrations.
And it's a great environment to draft legislation.
You think everywhere is a great environment to draft legislation.
Well, yeah, it is.
Hey, my uncle used to come to Bible study here.
Yeah, this is where it all started.
We've come a long way since then.
We have. We're still rooted in Scripture, but now it's about how we live out our faith.
Amen. And it's so great to be here. It's such a welcoming place.
Eva, these groups have such different agendas. Do you think CJ Cafe will ever really bring people together?
Oh, it will. And it does, Jamie. This is a place where people can come together. A place where they feel welcome. A place where ideas about changing the world just seem to happen.
But it just seems like each group is so isolated. It really seems like they're talking about different things.
They are, for now.
I don't know. Ben started this great place, and Claire and Jordan continued the work that he started. And they passed it on to us, and we've been doing it for a while now, but I'm just not sure things are really moving forward anymore. I thought it would be different.
How so?
Well, like more unified, more united towards a common goal.
Sometimes people are more united than they first appear.
Maybe, but I doubt Ben or Claire or Jordan thought we'd still be so isolated in these separate camps all these years later. Why are there still such separate groups? Why aren't the people coming here? Where are those people, you know? The ones who are willing to risk something big for something good? I know it's hard to do. It's been hard for me, but it's worth it. And we need those people to gather here.
Well, remember Ben's motto posted by the bar? The people who need to find this place will find it.
You think that's still true?
I know it's still true.
I hope you're right.
Has it really been 12 years?
It was 12 years ago that he walked out the door and he said goodbye. Someone cried, said it'll never be the same. But look now.
Do you think we've really changed?
Oh, we've grown and we've changed, painted walls rearranged, and we're seeing more. Beyond that door, guess it's never been the same.
Yesterday turned quickly into now, and all I'm thinking about is what's beyond the walls.
What's your passion? Find your people, dream about a big tomorrow. This could be your call. A call to do something that's big and bold. Come on now, you've got a hand to hold, dreams to mold. I've been told.
What if I'm not sure which way to go? What if my dreaming is far too slow? Where to go? I don't know. But somewhere past the door, I know there's so much more. Something in my heart keeps nudging me to start.
Oh, walk alongside me. There's a different way to see.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It was really nice, yeah.
They sue the human race.
Hey there, welcome to the CJ Cafe. Is this your first time here?
Yep, it's my first time, but I've heard about it for quite a while.
Yeah, the group we're a part of, World Changers, got its start here.
Really? When was that?
Back when Ben was the proprietor, more than a decade ago. A bunch of people who didn't think they had anything in common realized that they shared a passion for making the world better.
And they found that together they could take the steps to change the world.
And from those first steps out into the world, this group formed. We're committed to doing concrete things to make a difference.
Right. We have people who serve breakfast every Saturday for the homeless, groups that make really great bag lunches, and we help with meals at lots of the local shelters.
And we partner with schools and churches to collect coats and PJs and warm blankets.
And we work alongside local restaurants, sharing food that'd be otherwise thrown away.
Where there's a need, we try to find ways to meet it.
And we don't do it alone. We partner with community agencies, faith communities, and civic organizations. We're better together.
Right. That first group was made up of people with different interests, religious beliefs, political affiliations. But once they stopped focusing on those things, they all agreed that the thing that matters most is meeting people's immediate needs.
And there are so many needs. If the people cry for help, you don't leave them alone. If the hungry want some fish, you don't give them a snake. If we want to do some good, we gotta stay awake.
Before anything else, we gotta meet the needs. Before making the speech, we gotta do the deeds. Hungry people don't care if we're red or blue. What we say doesn't help, only what we do. We gotta meet the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs.
If the homeless need shelter, you don't make a speech.
If the jobless need a job, you don't simply preach. If the lonely need a friend, you don't turn them away. If the poor need assistance, no matter what we say.
Before anything else, we gotta meet the needs. Before making a speech, we gotta do the deeds. Hungry people don't care if we're red or blue. What we say doesn't help, only what we do. We gotta meet the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Systems do need changing. First hungry mouths need feeding. Politics do matter, but what are people needing? Bread and love and water for every son and daughter. A place that's safe and warm, a shelter from the storm. Before anything else, we gotta meet the needs. Before making the speech, we gotta do the deeds. Hungry people don't care if we're red or blue. What we say doesn't help, only what we do. We gotta meet the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. We gotta meet the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs. Meet the needs, the needs, meet the needs.
See, the point is, there are hungry people here, now.
We step over the homeless people almost every day, or cross to the other side of the street, or just put on blinders and pretend that we don't know they're even there.
Right, but they're here, all around us. Their needs are real and they're desperate.
It's really about survival.
As long as people are falling off the grid, falling into poverty, we need to be sure that there's a safety net there to catch them.
and catch them now. You know that old saying, give a hungry person a fish, you feed that person. Teach a hungry person to fish, and you feed a village? Well, that's all well and good. But if that person is too weak to fish, they need to eat first.
It's all about first things first. As long as they're hungry, hurting people, nothing else matters.
First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. If you wanna get to heaven, gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, gotta give it. First things first, gotta give it. Give it, give it, give it, give it. Now, if you wanna get to heaven, well, this is how.
Gotta start at square one. If you gather up your people, you can overcome all the obstacles awaiting you on the road. See how together we can lighten the load. We got the power to feed the poor. We got compassion and so much more for the hungry and the thirsty and the empty cup. It only takes a couple fish to change it all up. Oh,
First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. If you wanna get to heaven, gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, gotta give it. First things first, gotta give it. Give it, give it, give it, give it. Now, if you wanna get to heaven, well, this is how.
Nothing else matters if no one starts. Quit dragging your heels and be smart. Think about the people whose lives will change when you work to make a difference in His name. We got the power, let's give it away. We got the power that comes when we pray for the troubled and the thirsty and the weary hearts. With bread and fish together, that's a mighty good start.
First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. If you wanna get to heaven, gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, gotta give it. First things first, gotta give it. Give it, give it, give it, give it. Now, if you wanna get to heaven, well, this is how. Fishy, fishy, give 'em a fish. Fishy, fishy, give 'em a fish. Fishy, fishy, give 'em a fish. Give 'em a, give 'em a fish. Fishy, fishy, give 'em a fish. Fishy, fishy, give 'em a fish. Fishy, fishy, give 'em a fish. Give 'em a, give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. First things first, you gotta give 'em a fish. If you wanna get to heaven, gotta give 'em a fish. Give 'em, give 'em, give 'em, give 'em, give 'em, give 'em a fish.
I get their point, but I still think they're missing the bigger picture.
Of course they are. We all miss the bigger picture to some degree. But don't worry. Be open.
Let it unfold and see what happens. Okay.
I can't believe we're back at the CJ Cafe. I love this place.
Our group got its start here. From the beginning, we met here to organize and plan ways to disrupt the system, to raise awareness.
But we evolved into a group that was committed to social change by bringing down the systems of oppression that created the conditions that lead to poverty.
The reasons that people are hurting.
Exactly. In those early days, everybody in the cafe went out and did service projects, meeting the needs of the people right where they were. And that was great as far as it goes. The needs had to be met. But some of us wanted to do more, so our focus became strategizing ways to change the system.
That's right.
It's the only way to really change things. Otherwise, we'll be making sandwiches and doing service projects forever.
And really, sandwiches? That's not what we're about. If you want to know the truth, we're about changing the system.
You can fish the lake empty, still the hungry yearn for more. You can build 1,000,000 shelters, still the homeless sleep outside your door. You can broker peace in one place while another goes to war. You can serve soup every weekend, but the thing you can't ignore is it's the system.
We are pouring our resources into buckets filled with holes. We are following the leaders who make policy by polls. So the poor become statistics and not living, breathing souls. And instead of asking why, we're just trying to meet our goals. Yeah, it's the system.
It's the system that creates these conditions. It's the system that sustains these addictions. Where success is defined
See, the thing is, it's good and noble work to feed the hungry and provide shelters to the homeless. But unless we look at the things that are actually causing hunger and homelessness, we'll stay stuck in an endless cycle of charity.
And the one thing for sure about that is it'll burn you out.
And meanwhile, the needs just get bigger and bigger.
And compassion fatigue sets in.
Right. Meeting the needs feels good, but it's the low-hanging fruit. If we really want to make a difference, we have to dig deeper.
The bottom line is that as long as there are systems in place that depend on one person profiting at the expense of others, we'll stay stuck in an endless cycle of poverty and injustice.
Which leads to a never-ending cycle of pain, disease, and despair.
And that, in a word, is wrong.
Yeah. And wrong must be made right.
Yeah. It's up to us not just to meet the need, but to right the wrong that has created those needs.
Mama always told me, and Daddy told me too, and Grandma told me over and over and over till she turned blue. You've gotta change the system. You've gotta learn to right the wrong. You've gotta figure out a new way so that everyone belongs.
It's not about the sandwich, not about the bread. It's all about equal pay so a family can be fed from the work of their own hands, from a place of pride, not shame. Let's make it happen. I'd like to try if it's all the same.
Right the wrong and let the people all be blessed. Right the wrong and free the people from unrest. The system is broken. It's time to heal it on up. Let's get it all together. Let's be hands up. Right the wrong and let the people all be blessed. Right the wrong and free the people from unrest. The system is broken. It's time to heal it on up. Let's get it all together. Let's be hands up.
Now ain't that something?
Well, they certainly are passionate. They are, but
So are the others. And it almost seems like they're in competition with each other. Meet the needs versus change the system.
There is a human tendency to view a lot of life as competition, to think there's only our way.
That certainly seems to be how they're thinking.
Yeah, for now. Part of the magic of the CJ Cafe is that as people gather here, they begin to see things differently.
Well, I know we've seen that before, but I'm just not sure we're seeing it now.
Sometimes in the moment, you can't be sure of what you're seeing. Our job is to keep doing what we're doing and creating the spaces for those miracles to happen.
I know. I'm trying.
It's pretty amazing to think it all started here as a Bible study 12 years ago.
Yeah, a lot has happened since then. We've made a lot of progress in our understanding of putting our faith into action.
Not that Bible study is not important. It's at the heart of growing in our faith.
Right. Well, you realize, though, after being a part of the CJ Cafe and listening and learning to others, is that we can't help but see it's not enough to just grow inwardly in our faith.
Right. It's not just about personal holiness, but about social responsibility.
I guess it's really just two sides of the same coin.
There's been a lot of conversation about whether we are justified by faith alone or whether it's by good works that we are saved.
Ha! Conversation? We're like one of the great theological debates of all time.
But we studied that. The book of James says that faith without works is dead. But the Apostle Paul says it's by faith alone that we are saved.
And somehow that's become a big argument.
And on one hand, it's led people to think that they can just buy their way into heaven by doing good things. And on the other, it's led people to think that they don't have to do anything, just profess their belief.
But it's such a false choice. If you really have faith, you can't help but live it out.
Exactly. What we've come to realize is that the two can't be separated. It begins with faith, but the deeper we go into our faith, the more we are called to live out our faith by the good works we do.
Once we know this love,
makes the difference for us. Unless it's an extension of our faith, doing good things just comes up a little bit empty.
Yeah, doing good things is an important part of our faith.
But our faith is an essential part of doing good things.
I think what we've learned more than anything else is that it begins and ends with faith. And that faith leads us deeper into relationship with God and Jesus, and that in turn leads us deeper into relationship with God's world.
It's being the hands and feet of Christ.
Having one foot in the church and one foot in the world.
But always being grounded in the community of faith.
One foot here, one foot there, merge it till let's not be scared to step into the world and watch our faith come walking right alongside. Called to be so much more, living faith beyond the doors. All loving people every day, the least the lost a brand new way. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Step be thrilled, be bold and be thrilled. Oh, dance to God's will. And be still. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Safe to launch, safe to land. Things may change, but Christ will stand. Oh, right between the fear and doubt is also who God's love will win out. We got the why, we got the how, we got the vision, let's go now. Yeah, keep on moving forward so the church can live its mission in the world. With one foot here and one foot over there. Step be filled, be bold and be filled. Don't disrupt God's will. Oh, and be still. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Step out, step out, step out. Step out, step out, step out. Step out, step out, step out. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Step out, step out, step out. Step out, step out, step out. Step out, step out, step out. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Step out, be bold, don't disrupt God's will. Oh, and be still. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there. Oh, one foot here and one foot over there.
Hey, I hope you'll all join us for a special celebration tomorrow.
What kind of celebration? Oh, well, a CJ kind of celebration.
Pretty much what we've always done, celebrating who we are, the stories we share, and where we can go from here.
Ooh, intriguing.
Just come tomorrow, all of you, and you'll see.
I remember hearing about how Claire and Jordan used to worry about whether or not the people were getting it. Now I understand how they felt.
What do you mean?
Oh, just that this place has always been about people coming together and sharing their own stories for sure, but also listening to each other's stories.
Don't worry, that's still what this place is about.
It just seems like they're still getting pretty caught up in their own stories.
Sure, everybody does. That's been true forever. So we're here not only for them to share, but also to remind them of how important they are to each other.
I just wish we didn't always have to be reminded.
That's just part of living in community. And remember, from the day that Ben first opened up this place, it's been about modeling it after the community of disciples that Jesus called together.
And I guess Jesus had to always keep reminding them of the bigger picture.
He did and does. It's our job to live as fully as we can in that beloved community that began over 2,000 years ago. A community of hope, of inclusion, of change.
And always to remember that we have further to go, room to grow.
Exactly. Hold on, I think I have an idea. Follow me.
Whoa. What happened to our table? What's this about, Eva?
Oh, just shaking things up a little. Michael, you sit here.
Okay, but it's kind of weird not to have our table.
No kidding. We're all working on different things. This isn't going to work.
Actually, Tyler, we think this is the only way it'll work.
Each of you is doing some really important work. Some of you are boots on the ground, feeding people and building houses so they're warm in the winter. Some of you are working at a systems level, trying to end the cycle of poverty. And some of you are working from within your churches, doing the best you can to live out your faith.
But what if you came together? What if each of you saw what you're doing as a piece of the puzzle, as part of the bigger picture?
Each of us has something to contribute. Each of us is a piece of the whole.
What if it's true, what everyone said? What if together everyone's right? What if each one is a piece of the whole? What if it's colorful, not black and white? There are systems to change and people to feed, a gospel to live and a world that's in need. We are each a piece of the whole. Everyone here must play a role in changing the world, in righting the wrong, in creating a place where we all can belong. So find your place and make some more room. Tend to God's garden where everyone blooms. Listen and learn, trust and believe. Open your hearts to the love we receive, then you'll know you're a piece of the whole.
It's easy to think there's only one way, and that way is mine. No ifs, ands, or buts. But when we let blinders limit our view, that's when we get stuck in all kinds of ruts. There's systems to change and people to feed, a gospel to live and a world that's in need.
We are each a piece of the whole. Everyone here must play a role in changing the world, in righting the wrong, in creating a place where we all can belong. So find your place and make some more room. Tend to God's garden where everyone blooms. Listen and learn, trust and believe. Open your hearts to the love we receive, then you'll know you're a piece of the whole.
you probably remember, and I'm sure a lot of you didn't know, but CJ Cafe started as a way to bring those pieces together. A place where it all made sense.
And that's still what it is.
Yeah, for sure. The guy who started it all, Ben, did it as an expression and a living out of his Christian faith.
Wait a minute, you never said anything about having to be Christian.
No, you're right. I definitely wouldn't have said that. Here, you don't have to be anything. But for Ben, and for Claire and Jordan after him, and for Jamie and me, well, we are Christians. And that means living our lives as disciples. For us, that is lived here.
But you just said it's not just about faith, but about all the pieces fitting together.
True. It's all about the pieces. Maybe it's better to think of it as a tapestry. Not different pieces that fit together like a jigsaw, but different strands that weave together. Faith weaves through it all, and so does caring for people, and so does working to eradicate injustice and oppression.
So there's room for everyone?
Of course. That's why we created One Table. Sometimes this will be the gathering place for people of many different beliefs and points of view. For us, though, first it is the place where we will share communion with each other, a common union, a place where we can come together.
We come together as the body of Christ. We bring our brokenness and the brokenness of our world, and we give it to God. And in that surrendering, we are freed and made whole again.
Without sharing this connection by breaking the bread and sharing the cup, nothing else is possible. With it, all things are possible.
A bigger table's what he said. Room for every kind of bread. A space where all now can be fed together.
So break the bread and share the cup. There's a new way, fill us up and send us out into the world together to make a change.
Everything about Jesus, his life, his teachings, his actions, his death, his resurrection, is about one thing: love.
More specifically about God's love, and making sure that everyone knows that God's love is for them, no matter who they are or what they've done.
That's why we can no longer sit at separate tables when we are to share this meal together.
The table of God's love is a table that always, always has room for everyone.
Love is the starting place. Love, it is a sacred space. Love is God's redeeming grace forever.
Look with eyes that thirst for more. Cross the threshold on the floor and see beyond the open door together.
The world is waiting now for you to heal it and to make it new. Compassion has a different view, and we're together to change the
Sharing this sacred meal together is a reminder both of our brokenness and our being made whole through God's love.
We are broken by our own divisions and by the hurt and suffering in the world.
And we are made whole by coming together to work through those divisions so that we can work together to heal the world.
We share that vision and we recommit ourselves to the vision every time we share this meal together.
Let this prayer from the Iona community be our prayer. Creator of the world and all its people, we are glad that all things are held in your hands. You have not left us alone. And we celebrate the work of your Spirit, encouraging people of the world to work for peace, to speak for the voiceless, and always to anticipate that the best is yet to come.
If, however, we have driven a wedge between piety and peacemaking, erected a wall between prayer and politics, associated the purposes of heaven with only the gentler things of earth, God of justice, show yourself.
If we have offered to false gods the devotions that you alone deserve, if we have dismissed the gospel as irrelevant to the world, God of justice, show yourself.
If we have dumbed down your word and domesticated your spirit because we wanted an easier faith and a tamer dove, God of justice, show yourself.
Wherever in our nations the poor are endangered, the sick are neglected, prisoners are refused redemption, and strangers among us are suspected, God of justice, show yourself.
Wherever in our world the lust for profit undermines the longing for peace, or the greed for profit overrides the need for fairness, God of justice, show yourself.
In the prison visitor and the mediator, in vigils for peace and protests to protect the earth, to all who fear for the future of children, for those who long for a different way, God of justice, show yourself.
May God our Maker bless us and wrap us round in love and tenderness.
May Jesus our brother bless us and ask us the questions that lead us to change the world.
May the Holy Spirit bless us and fill our lives with her courage and wisdom. And may we live bravely in the love of the Trinity all our nights and days. Amen.
From now on, there will be one table at the CJ Cafe.
But what happens when it's full? What do we do then?
That is always the challenge, making space for others and making sure we don't close ourselves off to new people or new ideas.
So how do we do that?
For some of us, maybe that means moving someplace new, bringing the message there, starting something new.
For others, it means starting here, gathering around the table for renewal and inspiration, then going out into the community, into the world to make change.
For all of us, it means staying connected to each other, to this beautiful world, to the message.
The message that is the vision that is the message.
The message of hope, of love, and of welcome for each and all of us.
And carrying that message wherever we go.
Making space for all, that's our sacred call. There's room at the table here, let love chase away fear. But what if we forget, we're still not there yet? How do we keep it real? There's so much left to
Don't forget the truth is there inside you. Don't forget you've had it all along. You can see it everywhere around you. You can hear its song in every song. When you hear the truth, the voice inside you, shout so loud that you let it out. When you share the truth, the light
trust and a little bit of faith, and I listen to what others might say. With one eye on the prize and another on the task, and a couple of feet planted on the earth. With a heart full of hope and a head full of thought and a spirit ready for rebirth. You've got to carry it far, carry it near, make it loud for all to hear. We can carry on from here. Carry it far, carry it near, make it loud for all to hear. We will carry the message on from here. We still find our heart's desire when we let our souls catch fire with the love that from each one streams. We are building, 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 building on our dreams. We still find our heart's desire when we let our souls catch fire with the love that from each one streams. We are building, 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 building on our dreams.
We are really grateful that you came and joined us at the CJ Cafe tonight. And I just got to say, there are two people who are here tonight who sang in the cast of the original CJ Cafe 20 years ago. So it feels like we're sort of coming full circle here with this message. Over these past weeks, we have listened to people as they've finished coming through our doors. And there's been this common theme that's gone on, which is around the thoughts of, we didn't want it to end. We wanted more. And to that I say yes, yes, and yes. It seems that folks are hungry and thirsty for more. That maybe this is a feeling you have too. And a feeling that maybe something maybe you heard tonight is nudging you also to get out of these walls and doors of the church and out into the world to do. Or maybe it's helping you to think about getting rid of old ways of thinking or being or doing to make new change in the world. Perhaps tonight's the night for you to begin building on your own dreams or your church's own dreams or your own community's dreams. As you think boldly and act courageously, and as you begin to write the next sequel to this musical. That's our prayer for you. That tonight each one of you will carry from this place a message of hope and of possibility and of promise into a world that is so incredibly eager and excited to watch you make change for good. So we are grateful that you came, and we are grateful that tonight that we will be raising an offering for this youth ministries here. And is there anyone who wants to speak to that ministry right now? Perfect. Come on up. Griffey.
Hi, everyone. I'm Griffey. I'm the assistant youth coordinator here at Aldersgate United Methodist. And can we hear it one more time for the Starfire singers? Oh, my goodness. So tonight's offering is going to be going towards our youth program, and our youth program meets some 40 odd weeks of the year. We're here almost every Sunday. I think we have Christmas, Easter, today, and Mother's Day off. So we're here almost every Sunday, and we're doing activities. And this last year, we've been really, really focused on the growth of our youth program. And I don't know if you guys know how busy youth are today. I was a youth like 7 years ago, and I thought I was busy with band, but we've got youth in theater. We have multiple 3-sport athletes. We have select lacrosse players. We have people who are swimming. We have youth with full-time jobs. We have youth doing search and rescue. We have a youth that started an apparel brand on Instagram. And they're still coming. They are asking their coaches, hey, can we move film study to not Sunday night so that we can be at youth group? And I just wanted to thank you guys for your generosity today as we continue to grow our youth program here and we move forward. This offering will help us do even more cool things, whether it's setting up a slip and slide on our hill or having donuts at Sunday school. And I'm really, really grateful that you guys are here tonight. Thank you.
And certainly we know when youth are at the church that they are learning more about this wonderful message about Jesus Christ and bringing it out into the world. And I'm sure that that is something that all of you would love to give to and make sure continues in this world. So give generously. As we take the offering, we invite any alumni from Starfire to come up and join us as we sing our last song together.